Welcome to our military channel. Today we have put together a new report for you about the causes and consequences of the disaster at the Plesetsk Cosmodrome, where the Sarmat intercontinental ballistic missile exploded during one of the tests. Before we begin, I want to remind you how important it is to like the video and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do it now. After watching, share your opinion in the comments or just leave a plus sign. The disaster at the Plesetsk Cosmodrome, where an intercontinental ballistic missile called Sarmat exploded during one of the tests, was a major blow to Russia's ambitious military plans. The explosion in the test site's silo not only destroyed its infrastructure, leaving behind a crater 62 meters in diameter, but also raised serious questions about the state of the country's defense industry. Russian officials tried to hush up this incident, but its scale and consequences are too great to be concealed. The Sarmat intercontinental ballistic missile is the pride of the Russian defense program. This is a next-generation system that was supposed to replace the outdated R-36M Voyvoda missiles, known in NATO classification as SS-18 Satan, whose service life has been extended but is quickly coming to an end. The Sarmat missile development project aimed to strengthen Russia's nuclear arsenal amid rising tensions with the West and is positioned as a strategic deterrent. According to sources, the main cause of the Sarmat explosion during testing was related to a leak of liquid fuel, heptyl, and nitrogen tetroxide. Liquid-fueled missiles like Sarmat are known for their maintenance complexity and increased operational danger due to the instability of their chemical components. An engine malfunction during the first seconds of launch led to a fatal accident. Russia continues to use liquid rocket engines despite their well-known drawbacks. Liquid systems require significant time for launch preparation and high standards of technical maintenance. Unstable components, such as heptyl, make these rockets especially dangerous to handle. It is noteworthy that many countries around the world have long since switched to solid fuel rockets, which are less prone to accidents and easier to operate. In this context, the Sarmat disaster seems even more alarming. The explosion occurred inside the silo, which indicates serious problems with the technical reliability of the design. The failed launch was an attempt to confirm the missile's combat readiness, but instead it put the entire project at risk. The production of Sarmat turned out to be one of the main difficulties faced by the Russian Federation. The Krasnoyarsk machine-building plant, responsible for producing these missiles, faced numerous difficulties. Historically, the enterprise specialized in creating naval missiles, and the transition to developing complex strategic systems like Sarmat turned out to be a serious challenge. Limited access to Western technologies, qualified personnel, and production equipment caused by sanctions added even more problems. Since the beginning of Sarmat's development in 2009, the timeline for its testing has been postponed several times. Initially, the missile was supposed to enter operational service in 2018, but actual tests only began in 2022, and the results were disappointing. According to unofficial data, out of 5 test launches, only 1 was considered successful. Testing failures cast doubt on Sarmat's real combat effectiveness and its place in Russia's nuclear strategy. The missile is 35 meters long, with a launch weight of 208 tons and a payload of up to 10 tons. The Sarmat has a range of over 18,000 kilometers. It is 6 times heavier and twice as long as the American Minuteman III nuclear missiles. The Russians claim that this missile can carry from 10 to 15 nuclear warheads or maneuverable hypersonic glide vehicles, and it also has the ability to choose different flight trajectories, including flying over the South Pole, which makes interception more difficult. Indeed, it is capable of flying along an unpredictable trajectory at hypersonic speed. It is claimed that they can also maneuver. Only real-world experience would show whether it can be shot down, and fortunately, there has been no such experience. One of the least discussed aspects of the disaster is the environmental damage. Heptyl and nitrogen tetroxide, used as fuel and oxidizer, are extremely toxic substances. When they leak or explode, dangerous vapors are released into the atmosphere, which can contaminate soil and water for many kilometers around. The consequences of such emissions may appear months or even years later, causing poisoning and long-term illnesses among the population. The Plesetsk Cosmodrome is located in a remote region of the Arkhangelsk Oblast, but even in such an area, the consequences of an explosion can harm the environment. Liquid rocket components not only cause fires and destruction instantly, but also slowly poison the environment, posing a threat to the local ecosystem. The disaster at the Yubilnaya launch pad in Plesetsk drew historical parallels with the accident at the Baikonur Cosmodrome in 1960, when an R-16 rocket, also fueled by liquid propellant, exploded at launch, killing dozens of specialists and military personnel. That incident was a tragedy for the Soviet space program and a serious blow to the morale of the scientific staff. However, while in the 1960s it was impossible to justify such incidents by insufficient technological development, the current incident highlights deeper systemic problems in the Russian rocket program. In the following years, the Soviet Union switched to more reliable solid-fuel rockets, but the modern Russian Federation, on the contrary, continues to cling to outdated technologies, which raises questions about the long-term effectiveness of such systems. The tests of Sarmat were accompanied by pressure from the country's political leadership. Back in 2018, the president of the Russian Federation, in his address to the Federal Assembly, presented Sarmat as a new weapon capable of bypassing any missile defense systems and guaranteeing Russia's leadership in the nuclear arms race. However, hasty attempts to implement a complex system that had not passed all the necessary stages of testing led to fatal consequences. The Sarmat disaster demonstrates that political ambitions can contradict real technical capabilities. In their eagerness to present the missile as ready for operational deployment, the Russian authorities failed to take into account serious problems with its production and testing. Technical specialists and experts warned about the need to improve the control and safety systems, but these warnings were ignored. Given the numerous failures in testing, experts predict that it will take at least 810 years to finalize the Sarmat. For Russia, this means a significant lag in the nuclear arms race, especially against the backdrop of the successful deployment of new missile systems in the US and China. By the time the Sarmat is ready for full deployment, the outdated Voyvoda missiles may be decommissioned, leaving the country with fewer capabilities in its nuclear arsenal. Thus, the Sarmat disaster became not only a tragedy for the Russian defense program, but also a symbol that complex projects require time, thorough preparation, and adherence to technical standards, regardless of political ambitions. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like if you enjoyed this material and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new episodes. We're happy to welcome new subscribers.